All right, everyone, and welcome back to episode number 19. I really hope you all enjoyed the last little ending there, something a little more cinematic than what we typically do. But for this episode, we are going to connect finally this island here. If you come through, you can see it is disconnected from the waterway. So sorry, from the ground down here. So we are going to connect this down all the way to the bottom. And that's where we're going to start off today. We have a couple more changes we've made in here since the last episode, but that's going to be towards the end that we'll show that off. For today, I want to connect this all the way down, and then while doing all of this over here, I noticed one thing we were critically lacking. And you've probably maybe thought of it if you've seen everything I've built, but we have no wood farm. And at the current moment, our mega storage system has less than a stack of all wood types put together, I believe. So that's a critical area we are missing stuff in. So we're going to connect this up down here because that doesn't need wood. And then we are going to head over to a little space I've marked out. So if we hop to the map, we can slide down here and you'll notice a little building layouts popped up there. That's where we're going to build our forestry house. And in my mind, it's the perfect spot since it's, well, right by all the major wood types. Of course, acacia's missing, but the closest one to that is way up here. So that is my plans for today, and I hope y'all enjoy and join me for it. We have a lot to do, but I'm excited to get it all done. All right, well, one half of phase one of doing this all the way to the lake bottom is done. Let me show you what we have real quick. If we come out here, we can see we just have a simple dirt all the way to the bottom. But that is why this is just phase one. What I plan to do is go through and add in some areas more dirt to make it line up with these these grass sections here, and then add some sand as well. So if you notice, there's a 2 block gap here because sand will drop down and fill on there. So we needed to have a little support for it. And then the other parts I'm going to add is gravel because if you notice, the entire bottom of this lake is gravel. So we'll need to add that in and then periodically maybe put some clay in. I'm not quite sure on that part yet. But for now, we have the one half of it done because, as you saw on the other side, there's an abrupt stop and there's another abrupt stop here. Haven't quite done this end yet, but just from eyeballing it, this is the shallower end, so it should be simpler and quicker to build. I only wasted 2 shulker boxes on that one, and then maybe 9 here. So we should have enough to finish that pretty easily. We got some more shulkers down here, all filled up mostly and ready to go. So we should be good to go. Let's just real quickly come out here, finish this up. I'll bring you back when that's done. And then I want to try and see if maybe I can do something entertaining to where I can drop all the sand and gravel in at one time. But that's going to need a lot, a lot of signs. So maybe we won't because as I stated earlier, we have no wood. So let's quickly finish this up and bring y'all back here and what's looks to y'all is just 1 second. And just like that, we have the whole thing finished, all 360 degrees of this place. If we look at my inventory, this is all the dirt I ended up having left. So pretty close on the amount we needed. As you can kind of see in here in these last little green areas, this is where the dirt is going to be coming down. So everywhere else around this is going to be sand and gravel. We got another one over here and a third one right back here. So all we need to do now is just gather a boatload. Probably 3 shulker boxes sand and 3 shulker boxes of gravel and just fill this whole place up. Really get it going. I did do the entire island, but also if we pop out on the other side over here, I kind of just put a top layer across what used to be one of the little gorges right here. So if we just pop below here, we can see it's one of those. You can see it better when you're in the wall. One of those little chasms and everything. So yeah, let's just go ahead and get up here and get ready to gather a whole bunch of sand and gravel. Oh, the closest desert is that way. Let's head out and get some. Alright, well, I don't know if I'm doing something wrong or what, but replay mod seems to be having an issue where it doesn't save any of the files after I make them. But here we are at my little desert where I like to mine stuff out at. If we turn around, we can see I've leveled and cleared out a decent area. It was enough to fill my entire inventory here, as well as fill up an entire box here. So yeah, we got a decent amount of sand, and I think with this plus some gravel we are gonna go get on a nearby hill. If we look at the map, we're way out here where I came through another portal to our desert, and the hill we are going to is right over here. You can see another portal right there where I've already come through and gotten it ready. So let's just go ahead and head right over there and leave this area that's now slowly becoming full of what I assume are going to be husk creepers and spiders. So let's get out of here. All right, and now after decimating a little area right here of gravel, we are ready to head all the way back and hopefully not die from what's turning into a mob trap. But we're ready to head back and finish up the island. Earlier we got all that dirt laid out, so now we just gotta go put what we've gathered on top. So let's get in here and get right to that. Hopefully not die. All right, well, after about a whole hour of gathering resources and probably 2.5, 3 hours of placing it down, I'd say the underwater area of this island is completed. And obviously you can tell where it is simply by the lack of kelp. And I'll tell you, after doing all of this, I have a disdain for kelp now. It is just always in the way, but you could partially be in it and not know you were in it and place a block and it end up behind you. It just complicated almost every step of this process. But we finished it. It's looking great. I'm still debating whether I want to actually go through here with like a bone meal and stuff and maybe add some more kelp as well to try and blend it a little better with the actual Minecraft environment. But for now, I think this is where we are going to stop. Again, you can see the 5 legs coming out. We got one here. We got a second one right over here coming out just a little ways. This one's a shorter one. As you can see, this is the steep side as well. We got a third one right back out here. A fourth one out there. And then the fifth one comes out here and kind of zigzags a little bit. And I think overall, shape-wise, I'm very happy with this. So now we get to move on to probably what I'd consider the more fun part. And that's going to be on the other side of this hill. So on the roof of one of the ruined houses here on the other side of the hill, we now have two just small statues guarding the entrance to our dungeon here. And they're just real simple, something I just wanted to use to fit in this area and give just an extra pop of color. We have a lot of muted colors, whereas these, I don't know, I find them to be a little brighter even though they are black, if that makes any sense whatsoever there. But let's head through this door and we can look at this new environment here. I have no light sources on me, so everything's just coming from the room itself. And it looks quite great. I still have a couple things to add on the floor wise, but structure wise, this is going to be the main entrance area of our dungeon we are building. And so you come through the front door, a little greeting area. I haven't decided if I want to use this as a chapel or maybe a little rundown kitchenette area. But overall, I think it's looking absolutely amazing. And then this way will lead deeper into the dungeon. But one thing I'd like to point out in here, and you might have already noticed it, but everywhere there's a stone slab, because these are all slabs, the upper slab here. Everywhere there's a slab, water is dripping out from. And that's because, well, let's go into free cam and I'll point it out to you. We have painfully, and I'll tell you painfully, placed all of this here. And it was so painful simply because these are slabs, and I kept forgetting that would click on them, it would come down here, flood, wash away some of the stuff I placed, and just overall made me thump my head and go, wow, can't believe I just did that. But these glowberries are brighter than I was necessarily wanting, so I'm debating whether to leave them in just on this upper floor to kind of be more of a gradual transition into darkness, or take them out. So that's something I'll decide on later. But we have candles to build the aesthetic, and then we turn this corner, and right now it is just water. But since we have finished our island all the way down, except for some chasms in here, we are ready to go ahead and build our second floor here. And our second floor is going to be our epic just transition into the massive dungeon this is going to be. So far we are in the small compact entryway area, and once we get around this bend and through this threshold right here, it's going to just open up and be a huge dungeon to show the scale of what we're actually working with. So that's what we're going to get to now, is just trying to build out a structure down here and then drain the water away. So since what I'm assuming won't be the best of time lapses down here, I'll bring y'all in as I have some stuff done. So let's start here, and I'll meet y'all again right here. All right, well, like I promised, I brought you back once I had that place all drained and pulled out. We turn around here. Yeah, it's just a cube at this point. But what we're going to do from here is where it gets epic. For now, we have probably about 25 more blocks to dig down this bottom to. Right now, it sits at about 48, and I want to go to 25. So what is that? 23 blocks to go down. So let's just hop right to that. I think we have a large enough space where a time lapse would be feasible in here. So I guess without further ado, let's hit that time lapse and dig this down with our haste beacon. All right, let's go. Alright, well, just like that, and with only 2 deaths, we finished our lovely little pit. And I gotta tell you, it's a bit of a mob trap sometimes. We got a couple blocks left down there we gotta collect. Let's fly down there real quick, and we'll point out probably the most tragic, maybe mortal sin of Minecraft I committed. And that was destroying this amethyst geode right here. It just had to be done. It was not in the right spot for me, and it's unfortunate, but there's plenty others in this little world here, so I'm not worried about that at all. So for now, let us quickly run through our plans here before we head off to the other thing I mentioned at the beginning of this episode, and that is finally getting a wood farm in here. Or I guess a tree farm, however you want to call it. A farm that's going to produce logs for me. So, you can also probably tell, I've gotten a little bit better at fighting stuff. But for here, I'm wanting to build kind of a meandering staircase down. I want it to come out just a little bit farther from there and immediately split off and go to both sides, come down again, meet in the middle around this shaft that's going all the way up there, and then eventually hit the floor down here. And I'm going to leave the whole thing kind of dark and mysterious. I don't want to put too much light in here, just enough to keep the mobs from spawning. So that's our plans with this. For now, let's show you how actually it takes almost a full rocket to get out of there. And let's head over to the spot where we're going to build our lovely little woodcutter's house and wood farm. All right, and we're over here in this rainy little place, and myself and right there, we're getting ready to dig ourselves a big little hole right under this area I sketched out, and then we're gonna build a nice little log farm. So let's hop to it. just like that, we have finished up our build. It's looking quite incredible. If we hop out here, we can see it's just a lovely little forester's house. There's not really an interior yet. I haven't quite done that, but let's just look at the outside here of what I've done. I've created like a little row area where he's growing all different types of trees. Like we have some spruce here, some birch, more spruce jungle, and we got some oak down there growing, just enough to, reforest the area. He'll grow them here for a little bit and then go plant where he's chopped down. Very sustainable. And then in the center here, under cover, of course, we have it where he's working on cutting some woods, getting all that done. And I thought sand was an appropriate thing to put down here to represent like sawdust that's formed around where he's cutting and all that. And then if we come up this ladder here, we get into an area that has a bunch of hay. Well, if I don't fall, if we come up here, we come into an area that has a bunch of hay. Why do I keep falling? What am I not making it under? Oh, okay. Anyways, there's a bunch of hay bales up here, and this is the area where he stores his food because, well, if you look around, he's out in the middle of nowhere, so he needs a couple of places where he can store stuff so that, long winters or long times between visits to the city, he doesn't starve or anything. And then we have nothing in here quite yet except for the fireplace. But underneath here, if we just go down here, we have an undecorated tree farm. And this is where I got most of the wood for the build. We just ran it through here, but this only works on the ones that are pretty straight at the moment. So that's oak, spruce, jungle, and birch that can be grown here at the moment. And, well, that's why we plan to have an expansion to where on this side over here, or I guess sides haven't been quite determined, but on one side we put an acacia, on one side we put a mangrove, on one side we put the nether trees, and on the other side we put dark oak. That way we'll finally have all 9 different types of trees all here under our woodcutters base. So if we head back up top, we can head to something that I worked on a little while ago, and it might help explain my 213 levels that you see down there once I pop out of bed. And well, it's a long ways off in that direction. So let's head there real quick and I'll bring y'all back in. Alright, and the secret to it is right on the other side of this portal. Let's rush on through that. And we have 2 little farms we built over here. And they might be small, but they produce exponentially well for their size. And our first one's going to be right here as we turn around. It's a slime farm. And this is in a tiny swamp biome. So if you kind of look, all but I think this one block right here, yeah, is in swamp. Well, maybe a couple more. But it's all in a tiny little swamp area, and this is where we are getting our slime from. Just all collects, and then we have our chest right there. Right now it doesn't have many because we just took all of it out so we could build that wood farm. And then our second one is right over here, and you might recognize it almost immediately, but this is designed by ENX04 that a lot of people have been using lately because, frankly, it's fantastic. But this is our raid farm, and this is where we've been getting all the emeralds for our beacons, gunpowder. Well, you can hear a little bit right now. Gunpowder, redstone, and all that good stuff it dropped. We've been collecting there. And so yeah, that's how I have these large amounts of levels, and that's how we've gotten some certain things in the recent, and I hadn't quite shown these farms, so I thought it was about time I did that, so y'all would understand where everything was coming from. So for now, let's head back to our little dungeon. I guess not quite little anymore, but for its true size, it's still little. So let's head back to that and get some more work done. I'll bring y'all back in once we have some progress. Alright, and here we are back at the lake. We're inside the area familiar with, but if we go back here and turn around, we will head to that area we just recently dug out. Now I've made a couple changes to it that we'll see as soon as we walk in, but the walls are all textured. I've added the cutouts where I want them to be, put the stained glass on the windows, and like I discussed on a stream, we have it to where it seems like natural light is pouring into here from out there. And then to top it all off, once you round here, you can see it. But right down here, we have like a little fog that's obscuring the rest of this pit. Now I have some changes I still want to make to this back wall here. But for this side over here, that side, and that side, everything is complete other than just some statues I want to put in there. And personally, I haven't decided what exactly that should be. I don't know if I want to make it tools or little Minecraft villagers or just some like heads as Easter Island heads or what. But I want to put statues there of something. And so this is where our dungeon's going to continue. And then it's going to come down here on that side as well. But it's going to come down here. And then once you cross through this threshold here, it's going to go into an actual dungeon system that has rooms, ladders, staircases, hidden passageways, and all that other stuff. And that's what we will be working on from the future out. And I'm very happy with how the parts of this room we finished have completed, and I look forward to doing the rest. So that's actually all the time I believe I have this week. I want to thank everyone and hope to see y'all again on next Saturday. So y'all have a lovely week. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye everyone.